If you haven't played Deadlock in a little while, this might be the perfect time to come back. Thanks to Valve releasing a surprise holiday update, we have cute little snowmen, beautiful Christmas decorations, lovely little presents, and best of all, festive holiday skins. But before you get too excited, let me get 3 things out of the way real quick. Number 1, we have 0 reason to believe that we'll get to keep these skins, regardless of how difficult the challenges to unlock them might be. Number 2, the only way to unlock these skins is by completing challenges tied to each character. So no, there's not going to be any way to pay your way into obtaining these skins. And then last but not least, number 3, once you unlock them, they stay on your character for now. Alright, so real quickly before getting into the holiday skins, showing you guys how they look, giving them a review, and then giving you guys some tips on how to unlock them, I do want to go over something that the community has been quite fixated on recently, and that's the player count. Without getting all doom and gloom, the vast majority of Deadlock's player base has unfortunately kind of poofed away over the past few months, and I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that most people, at least in my circle and in my life, are externally motivated. Most games nowadays have ranks that you can grind through, or battle passes that you can try and complete. And for the more chill gamers, you have simple stuff like camos, badges, stickers, sprays, skins, etc. All these little things help keep players engaged when they can't make their own fun, or things just get a little bit stale. And the reality of Deadlock is that it doesn't really have any of that right now. Sure, ranked is there, but when there's only one queue, it can only be taken so seriously. And also real quick, since I didn't say this earlier, no, I do not think that Deadlock is dying, and I'm 105% positive that this game is here to stay long term. Anyways, why did I mention all that retention stuff? Well, you can probably put 2 and 2 together, but in case you can't, in my opinion, this seasonal Deadlock update has given players a reason to log back on. And if we're being completely serious, this sort of thing is going to impact everybody, whether you're somebody who's coming back or somebody who never left. You see, I've been playing quite literally almost every single day since the NDA lifted, and I'm assuming a newer or, more casual player probably doesn't want to go against me when I'm playing somebody that I'm used to, right? Well, this update kind of addresses that a little bit by giving me an incentive to play a character that I normally wouldn't. Also, I'm not going to pretend like this update solved toxicity, but I do feel like people are a little bit more sympathetic towards that player who's first timing Lash and goes 1 in 13. Long story short, the combination of giving players something to grind for, plus incentivizing people to expand their hero pool, has just overall done a lot of good for the game, and I'm pretty stoked about that. Now that my yapping video essay tendencies are out of the way, let's move on to the part of the video that you guys most likely clicked on for, and that is, how do you unlock these skins? Number 1, Pocket. Everybody's favorite flashy skill expressive hero. Nice and simple, fairly cozy, 7 out of 10. In order to unlock Pocket's Xmas skin, you're gonna have to land a 5-man ultimate. Yikes. A few weeks ago before the nerfs, this sort of thing would have been relatively easy, but now that their ultimate range pretty much got cut in half, things get a little bit complicated. As somebody who's played a lot of Pocket on a large variety of builds, I think your best chances at completing this challenge are gonna be to buy items that, for 1, increase your ability range, and 2, give you a clean way to engage. To address engaging properly, you can utilize zip lines to do a little bit of movement stuff, but if you're wanting something a little bit more consistent, I recommend items like Veil Walker, Shadow Weave, Warpstone, and of course, Majestic Leap. Now, in order to address the limited range on Pocket's ult, I'm gonna recommend items like Improved Reach. Yes, Improved Reach, not just the regular one. If you're not a fan of that, you can also do Arcane Surge, and technically you can lean into items like Divine Barrier or Rescue Beam for a little bit of extra ult range, but those last two definitely don't synergize all that well with Pocket. Oh, and before I forget, if you do happen to get a Lash or a Dynamo on your team, make sure to play around them. Obviously, getting either of those characters is out of your control unless you play with a friend, but it'll make things a lot easier. Number 2, owner of the ult of doom, Dynamo.
I'm Santa.
Santa? Is that you? 12 out of 10. Very jolly. For Dynamo's Xmas skin, you're gonna need to use your ult on a minimum of 3 people, aka just play Dynamo normally. For items, it's gonna be exactly the same as Pocket, where you're just gonna want to build around range and engage, but only this time you're gonna sprinkle in a little bit of duration. Personally, I recommend Naked's build. It absolutely bangs.
Ho ho ho!
Number 3. Grey Talon, which to my surprise is one of the hardest ones. Anyways, I like your beard. 10 out of 10. Alright, now as I hinted to before, Grey Talon's challenge is quite hard. If you're wanting this fancy mustache, you're going to be asked to deal 1000 damage with a single charge shot. And yes, that is on a single target. Absolutely ridiculous if you ask me, and in most games completely impractical, but I guess that's what they wanted to do for the challenge, so we're going to have to find a way to do it. Obviously, you're going to want a lot of spirit damage for this one, but keep in mind that costs money. And in order to get a lot of money, the game's gonna have to go on a little bit longer. And the longer the game goes on, the more your enemies can build spirit armor. If you consider yourself a charming person or a cute with a friend, I recommend you ask one of your teammates to build crippling headshot, but if not, I guess that's on you. Anyways, what the heck should your build look like? Grey Talon's charge shot has a 2.5 spirit scaling at tier 3, so the number one stat that you're going to want to prioritize is, of course, spirit. In order from most important to least important, I recommend Boundless Spirit, Surge of Power, Spiritual Overflow, or Shadow Weave. On top of that, you're going to want to grab items like Improved Burst, Enchanter's Barrier, and of course, your bread and butter, Improved Cooldown, Rapid Recharge, all that jazz. Now, if you ever find yourself super close to meeting the 1000 damage threshold but aren't quite there yet, you can look into buying small bumps of spirit power through items like Hollow Point Ward, but I legitimately think your best option for getting that final last bit of damage is going to be an item like Soul Shredder Bullets or its upgraded form of Spellslinger Headshots. A lot of people hate this item, me included. I kind of think it's a throw, but in this instance, it is huge. Anyways, as for gameplay, you're going to want to make sure to use your owl on cooldown to secure kills, because for those of you who don't know, every kill with your owl or assist grants you 5 spirit power, so that'll come in handy. And before we move on to number 4, there's one thing that I want to go over real quick. During my attempt for this challenge, I hit somebody for over 1000 damage with my charge shot, and it didn't count towards the challenge. At first, I didn't really know why, or was almost even blaming items like Improved Burst, but I don't think that that's it. Take this with a grain of salt, but I think this was thanks to barriers. If that is the case, you're gonna have to use your first charge shot to break the barrier, and then wait a little bit for Surge of Power to come back up, and then do it again. Does this make things a little bit harder? Yes, but at the same time, once your damage is that high, there's really no way to mess it up. Number 4, Lady Geist. What happened to your hair? 3 out of 10. Technically, I love the dress, but in third person when you're playing her, you can't really see it. For Lady Geist skin, all you're gonna have to do is smack somebody with a cheeky low HP ultimate. And when I say low HP, I mean very low HP. Based off of how I did it and what other people are saying, you're gonna have to be less than 100 HP. It might be percentage based, but this is a safer bet. On paper, this sort of thing sounds pretty tough, I won't lie, but as long as you play around corners and veils, this should be a cakewalk. If you're having trouble actually landing the ulti, buy yourself a warp stone and things should come together. Number 5, Moe and Krill. 1 bajillion out of 10. For our jolly duo skin, all we're gonna have to do is get a stack from our ultimate from every enemy on the opposing team. Little bit of a redundant sentence, but we'll look past that. This sort of thing will most likely happen naturally as the game goes on, but I found it pretty helpful to keep a mental note, as I didn't want to be ulting people multiple times in a row and essentially throwing the challenge. When it comes to items, I recommend you build a little bit of cooldown reduction, of course, to help you get more ults up, and once again, things that help you engage. You can use Warpstone or Phantom Strike to gap close, or if you're a really quirky guy, Magic Carpet works as well. Other than that, maybe Surge of Power so that your dig goes super fast. Number 6, Kelvin. Do you think he'd be upset if I took a bite out of his cookie? 9 out of 10. For Kelvin's Xmas skin, you're gonna have to ult... Here, actually, let me check. Deadlock. In order to unlock Kelvin's Xmas skin, you're gonna have to land an ult on 2 allies, not including yourself, and 2 enemies. This one definitely took me a lot of tries, and I found it incredibly painful, but I think that's mainly because I'm a terrible Kelvin player. In order to have any luck at completing this, I had to rely on dynamos and lashes to set me up, so I don't really feel comfortable giving you guys any advice here. But word on the street is that reach makes your dome bigger. Bigger dome, easier challenge? Number 7. 7. In my opinion, 7 is the proud owner of the best Xmas skin. Absolutely incredible, dude. I never thought I'd say it, but the cookie head PJ combo actually made the horrifying and gut-wrenching challenge completely worth it. 100 out of 10. Okay, so what made me call 7's challenge gut-wrenching and horrible and just the worst thing I've ever done in my entire life? Well, basically you have to kill somebody with a thunderbolt from your ultimate. Let's go! Finally, dude. Finally, let's go! Oh my god, dude, it took me ages. Oh, thank god I have a cookie, I have slippers, I have PJs. I'm so handsome. The funniest part about this to me is that the Thunderbolt was actually a recent addition to 7, and I'm willing to bet that most of you don't even know that it exists. Anyways, this gimmicky little Thunderbolt thing takes all of 3 years to drop down, and like, it does a good bit of damage, but I don't think it's enough. At least not to comfortably do this challenge. Whining aside, if you're looking to complete this challenge, I have a few bits of advice that might help, but in reality, I think you just kind of have to get lucky. Tip number 1 to get 7's holiday skin is to buy items like knockdown or extended duration so that enemies are knocked down a little bit longer and unable to leave once you cast this Thunderbolt of Doom. And tip number 2 is to just like pray to some god and, you know, maybe use some of your prediction skills and go for it. To summarize though, basically you're going to want to chain Sevens to his stun to maximize the likelihood that you'll actually land this horrible attack. Best of luck, don't lose your mind. Number 8, Wraith. Ooh, that nice. 10 out of 10. Completing Wraith's holiday skin challenge is so stupidly easy. I don't even understand why this is the challenge. But to be fair, I guess there aren't a whole lot of other things that you could do with their kit considering what it is. But that's besides the point. All you're going to be asked to do is to whip out 6 cards in 10 seconds. Pretty simple. The primary thing that you're going to want to do in order to make this as easy as possible is to, number 1, max out your cards so that they generate a little bit faster, you get an extra stack, and, you know, they get some bonus damage, which is nice too. On top of that, you can build extra charge, if not rapid recharge, but honestly, I think that's a little bit overkill and a bit too free. Like, it's fun to have a challenge, so I didn't go the full upgrade. And last but not least, just have a bunch of attack speed so that you build these cards super quick. Once you've done all that, just stack up however many cards you can on jungle troopers, walkers, guardians, whatever it is, and then find an enemy and just bombard them with it. In case you want to do this without engaging with another player, because that's a little bit scary, just charge up all your cards and you should be able to do this on a walker or mid boss as long as you have enough attack speed. Number 9, Warden. You know, I never really took Warden as a fruitcake kind of guy, but I guess it kind of suits him. 13 out of 10. In order to obtain Warden's fruitcake skin, you're going to have to successfully trap every single player on the enemy team. Kinda similar to Moan Krill's challenge. If you're having a hard time with this challenge, much like I did, I suggest that you use this build, which focuses on slows and ability range. This build includes items like Suppressor, Slowing Hex, Slowing Bullets, Mystic Range, all of which help you cage people, and overall just make the challenge a little bit easier. Aside from using this build, the only other tip I can give you guys is relating to gameplay. Something I see a lot of new Warden players do, and honestly even those that are experienced but have never really taken a whole lot of time to think about this, is opening up with their cage. This is a pretty big mistake because enemies are going to have anywhere from 3 to like 5 stamina bars to run away from you, which you don't want. So for me personally, I run up to them, I'm like, ooh, I'm scary, and then I watch them dash once or twice, throw my alchemical flask on them, which removes 1 stamina bar, and then I throw my slowing hex and cage onto them. Number 10, Abrams. You can crack my nuts any day, handsome. Get it? Because the skin turns him into a nutcracker. Horrible cringy jokes aside, in order to unlock Abrams' Xmas skin, you're gonna have to do something that is incredibly suiting, and that is kill 5 enemies with a punch. Luckily for you, Abrams has 2 different abilities that more or less guarantee heavy melees. That's gonna be his shoulder charge and his ultimate. Now real quickly, I do want to cover the misinformation going around guaranteed melees on Abrams. Obviously, I'm not gonna go super in depth as it doesn't really relate to the video topic as a whole, but it is advice that will help you get this skin. Number 1, your shoulder charge should be a guaranteed heavy melee every single time as long as you start charging your melee before they get pinned. If you do this right, they shouldn't ever really be able to parry you unless for some reason there is a big distance between where you stun them and the wall that you pin them to. Sometimes that sort of thing does happen. So in instances like that, maybe it's good to just turn to the side and bait a parry. As for your ultimate, your heavy melee is only ever guaranteed if they are towards the center of your ulti. Some extra things to look out for are enemies building debuff reducer or debuff remover. These 2 abilities change the duration in which you're stunned, which will guarantee them a parry against you. Anyways, if you're finding yourself parried a lot, or if you're in higher tier lobbies, try not to overly mind game yourself to the point where you're just never committing to heavy melees because of this fear of getting parried. Number 11, Yamato. Overall, I like the holiday spirit, but this outfit just isn't doing it for me. There's way too many ribbons. 4 out of 10. In order to complete Yamato's holiday skin challenge, you're gonna have to take out 3 enemies in a single ultimate. If you've never played Yamato before, you're probably thinking, oh, yeah, dude, that's incredibly easy. To which I don't necessarily disagree with, but at the same time, I feel like Yamato being as unique of a character as she is, will most likely leave us Yamato newbies humbled for our first few games. If you have a good bit of experience on Yamato, I 100% without a doubt recommend you go full spirit, as I feel like that's the true way to play Yamato, but if you struggle with her kit, or overall just want to make this a little bit easier and more consistent, you can 100% go for a gun build. As for your game plan, you're more or less just going to want to build a little bit of duration to make things a bit easier, and prioritize 1 target at a time. The main reason I don't think you should spread your damage out across various players is because Yamato's ultimate duration actually increases every time you get a kill. Number 12, Haze. Truth be told, it really surprises me just how festive our angsty shadow nightmare assassin lady is. Based on that alone, 12 out of 10 for mustering up a little bit of holiday spirit. If you're looking to get jolly on Haze, you're gonna have to get a 7 kill streak and call in an attack helicopter. Unfortunately, there's not really a lot of advice I can give you guys relating to this one besides try not to die, forehead. At least that was my initial thought, but then I remembered that I'm talking to Haze players, so maybe it would be worth mentioning that you can indeed build defensive and utility items. I know. Shocking. If you lean into a slightly more spirit-based Haze build, I think your survivability is increased just a little bit, but don't take my word for that, I'm no Haze main. Number 13, Viscous. Look at his little hat, dude, I love it, this is so good. 13 out of 10. If you're wanting to snag yourself this handsome, jolly skin for Viscous, you're gonna have to use your ultimate as a bowling ball on 3 different people. The caveat here is that those 3 people are going to have to be hit in the same ulti. Much like Yamato, that means you're gonna be on a time limit, so items like duration are gonna help you a ton, but to be honest with you, I think most people should be just fine using whatever build. As long as you're using walls to ping pong yourself around instead of forcing yourself to make incredibly slow turns, I think this will more or less be a cakewalk. Number 14, Ivy. Ivy's outfit is so freaking ugly, it's cute, much like her model. 10 out of 10. Anyways, Ivy's holiday skin is to silence 2 enemies with a single ultimate. I need you to listen to what I said though. Silence 2 enemies with a single ultimate. Okay, hold on real quick. That's what I thought it was, and I was like 99% sure about it, but the Wikipedia says silence 6 enemies total with her ultimate, and apparently Guinness turrets also count. Either way, I get, I don't know. The reason I said listen to what I'm saying is because I said silence. Her ultimate does not silence until it's at tier 3, so make sure you upgrade that. Much like 99% of the challenges in this list, reach goes kind of crazy. Anyways, relating to builds, Piggy has some phenomenal ones that I 100% love and recommend, so go ahead and use those. Number 15, Lash. I hate to say it, but the top hat really suits you, Lash. Keep cleaning up and maybe, just maybe, they'll give you a proper lore page. Ass out of hole. To unlock Lash's Xmas skin, you're gonna have to embody Lash to the best of your ability. You can start the game off by telling your opponents to get ready for the Lashinator, cracking your knuckles and then spending the next 45 minutes waiting for the perfect ultimate that doesn't actually exist because you have to slam 4 people with a single ulti, which is absolutely ridiculous. Luckily, both targets whipped up into the air by your ulti and those that you affect by slamming enemies next to them. Did that make sense? Basically, you can grab people in the air, and if you slam those people in the air onto people on the ground, they count towards the collective 4 necessary for the skin. Word vomit aside, once again, build reach, that makes things a lot easier, and of course, find a way to engage that you're comfortable with. You can use Majestic Leap, you can use Zipline Movement Tech, or you could just wait for a mid-boss or patron fight. You could also go for some crazy walker plays, but I've noticed that people are a lot better about countering those nowadays. Number 16, Infernus. Easily the most dapper fit of them all. Absolutely outstanding, 11 out of 10. 3 men, 1 ultimate. At this point, I don't want to mention ability range ever again because it's getting quite tiring to talk about. So instead of telling you guys to build improved reach, which I literally just told you to do, the only other thing you could do to combust spontaneously on 3 enemies is going to be gameplay related. As a general rule of thumb, you should aim to start your ultimate charge a little bit sooner rather than later because too early and you whiff, too late and you're dead. Lastly, get crafty with your engages, start from rooftops, use veils, use corners, all that fancy stuff, and of course, flame dash into the entire enemy team with 0 regard for your life, and then save yourself with Ethereal Shift, because, believe it or not, your ultimate does go through it. Number 17, Shiv. Much like going against the Shiv in game, I hate it. You know, there's technically nothing wrong with the skin, but at the same time, it's a little bit generic and doesn't do a whole lot. Skin alone, 5 or 6 out of 10, pretty average, but coupled with what it feels like to fight against a Shiv, 4 out of 10. If you're wanting to play as Santa Shiv, all you're gonna have to do is take down 3 enemies with your ultimate in a single game.
A handsome son of a bitch in a Santa hat has been seen selling knives in Midtown. Could it be Shiv?
What the f is that voice line?
Yes, it's Shiv.
Number 18, Paradox. So does Paradox not have a head? Or snow? Out of globe. Paradox's holiday skin has to be the single most confusing one to get in the entire game. People literally came up with like 3 or 4 different ways to acquire the skin, and all of them were wrong. No, it is not killing 3 people with a full combo. No, it is not killing 3 people while they're slowed from carbine. And no, it is not hitting a max damage kinetic carbine. The real way to snow globe it up is by getting 3 midair kills. This could mean you just spamming jump while blasting someone with your gun, or in between pulse bomb ticks. Alternatively, if you kill an enemy while swapping them, that also counts towards this, which in my opinion I think is probably the intended way to get this challenge done. When it comes to tips, building items that give you lots of damage like Mystic Shot, Headhunter, all that jazz, are pretty good since they affect Kinetic Carbine, and for my final tip, if you jump in the air and then aim while charging Kinetic Carbine, you'll actually float for a little while. Boom, challenge done. Number 19, Vindicta. Jolly, festive, and elf-like. What more could you ask for, besides more nerfs? 20 out of 10. Vindicta's Xmas skin originally had a lot of misinformation surrounding it when the challenges first came out, but it's actually super chill. All you have to do is get 2 kills while in flight. Yep. That's it. No ultimate required. Number 20, Guinness. I really like the beard, but at the same time, I feel like my masculinity is being attacked a little bit here, so question mark out of 10. Okay, so I'm assuming you guys are familiar with those annoying split-pushing McGinnis players, right? The ones that have 20 deaths but 50,000 objective damage? Yeah. Those. Becoming one of them is the challenge. To be a little bit more precise though, the actual challenge is to participate in destroying 9 different objectives. You could do what I did and throw game after game going for cheeky backdoors, but I genuinely think your best odds of getting this completed with minimal frustration are by playing regularly and just participating in that final endgame battle. Right before ending the game, you can turn around and take out all 8 base guardians. That plus the patron or a shrine or a walker or a guardian prior is really all you need. The build that I used to complete this challenge was Naked's Gun Guinness. The way it absolutely shreds objectives is quite appealing for this challenge and overall just really fun. Number 21, Mirage. I'm gonna say it. I really like this skin. The handsome hat looks both incredibly dapper and festive, which we can all appreciate. Oh, and then there's the jar that usually contains some alien creature, but now it's a lovely Christmas tree. Personally, I feel like this holiday skin really suits Mirage, so I'm giving it a solid 13 out of 10. In order to acquire this banger skin for Mirage, you're gonna have to kill enemies with Jin's Mark. Whether you decide to go for a gun build, spirit build, or tank build, this is pretty achievable considering how much damage it deals, but if you want to make it extra easy, I recommend a spirit build. Items like Surge of Power, Quicksilver Reload, Mystic, or Improved Burst all help Jin's Mark do massive amounts of damage, which is exactly what we're looking for. Number 22, Bbop. Nice ball, 11 out of 10. Bbop's holiday skin challenge is to get a whopping 100 bomb stacks, which basically means play bomb Bbop with Echo Shard and go crazy. If you play Bbop regularly, I think this challenge is actually pretty chill, but if you overthink the stacks and force them early, you're gonna be in for a hard time. My first attempt at this challenge was spent trolling the entire early game, which absolutely sucked, and ultimately it led to me missing out on completing the challenge due to this really awful interaction that happened. Yes. Oh.
The tether.
Oh no, man.
Oh, that's not good.
No, I got slipped.
Throwing X on Infernus. He's tethered too.
Damn, dude. Oh, we're at 92. Just a few more. Look at that, dude. I was at 96 stacks. Oh, what a bummer, man. Anyways, the best bit of advice I have for this one is to just chill. Relax, take a deep breath, take it easy, don't force it. It'll come to you. If you bomb somebody in lane, that gives you 1 stack, and if you kill somebody, that gives you 4. So as long as you're not getting stomped, it should come naturally. Just relax. With every character now out of the way, I guess I'll go ahead and reveal just how much I D-ranked from successfully obtaining each and every Xmas skin. It shows it to me. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. Yeah. Not really a good look, but at least I have them. That's cool. Now to wrap things up, I just wanted to say that I appreciate you guys a ton, and if you enjoy the video, it would mean a lot if you dropped a sub or a like or a comment or whatever it is you might want to do, and if not, don't worry about it. Have a great day regardless. Peace.